Hello, very good evening to you. Welcome to ITV News and to Friday night's calendar.
Hello, thanks for your company. These are tonight's main stories.
For Harvey. That's the goal, that's the aim for Harvey.
Friends of Harvey Wilgoose, who was stabbed to death in Sheffield, vow to help tackle knife crime in his name.
The South Yorkshire beauty spot that has the worst fly tipping one volunteer says she's ever seen.
It's everything from discarded equipment from cannabis farms to a washing machine and polythene sheets, covering an estimated quarter of a mile in total.
Clueless Britain, why the cost of spending a penny is being blamed for fewer public facilities.
Why Gary Swift has potted his way into snooker's history books.
And we're expecting temperatures rivaling many European destinations this weekend, more like what we'd expect in May. But by Monday, definitely reminded that it's still only March. All the detail a little later on.
Good evening. Friends of the stabbed Sheffield teenager Harvey Wilgoose say they want to become role models to persuade children younger than them not to become involved in knife crime.
Harvey died after being stabbed inside his school last month. Now, 5 of his friends have told Calendar how his death has devastated them, but also how it's motivated them to take a stand.
They're now training for the Sheffield Half Marathon to raise money for an anti-knife crime charity in his memory. Katie Oscroft has been to meet them.
Honestly though, 150. 4 hours.
5 friends training for a challenge, motivated by a tragedy they never thought they'd have to deal with. 15-year-old Harvey Wilgoose was one of their number in an area where everyone knows everyone else. He was stabbed to death inside All Saints Catholic High School in Sheffield on February the 3rd.
Did it hit you hard?
Yeah, very. Like seeing his family members, seeing my friends who knew him, and it would just start. I think it all just like a bit of a snowball effect, and I think it got worse and worse over time.
Harvey he's one of them people where like you just walk in the room, you just see him and you just instantly smile. It always brings like a positive vibe to the room. But instead of like thinking about the sad situation, I just smile on the good memories that I had with him. So yeah, every time I think of him, I just have a smile on my face.
Are those thoughts going to carry you up that hill?
100%, 100%.
That hill is the first part of the Sheffield Half Marathon. Harvey's friends have become a team to support each other, to raise money for an anti-knife crime charity, and to set an example to children younger than themselves, but old enough to be impacted by knife crime.
Just good insight, get young kids to like learn the problems with knife crimes and violence, and yeah. We're still young adults, and at school we're like seen as the oldest, and hopefully we're good role models to everyone.
If we can make our voices heard at such a young age, then I think it'll make a deeper impact than some people who are older who've not got as much personal experience with that, someone that age.
I feel like also the places where we're from, it's like it is pretty common, and I feel like you hear it a lot from all the adults. But I think if it comes from someone you can relate to more, it probably hits home like more. Do you know what I mean?
Since the shocking death of Harvey Wilgoose, it's been revealed that more than 100 children have been caught taking knives into South Yorkshire schools. Harvey's family have joined and given their blessing to calls for change. These young people are using all this as their motivation.
If I'm like halfway there and I feel like giving up, I just think, what am I doing it for? And that's going to be my driving factor to finish the race, 100%.
When you're running, if you've got a hill, if you need that extra oomph about you to get yourself up the hill, then it's there for you.
Doing it for Harvey?
Yeah, for Harvey. That's the goal, that's the aim for Harvey.
A powerful lesson from young people still in education themselves. Katie Oscroft, ITV News.
It's well done to them. And there's more on the efforts to tackle knife crime in Harvey's name over on our website. Just head to the usual address, itv.com/calendar, where you can, of course, also find all of the rest of the day's news and sports stories from around the Calendar region.
Next, to the South Yorkshire beauty spot that's being destroyed by criminals.
What once was a clean babbling brook in Dore is now brimming with rubbish from dumped from cannabis farms.
Volunteers say they've already cleared 60 bin bags of rubbish away, but this is the worst example of fly tipping that they've ever seen, and they need more help. Our reporter Adam Fowler went to take a look.
This should be an idyllic view, but this brook in Dore in Sheffield is used as an illegal dumping ground, and litter picker Maggie says she's never seen it so bad.
I've been looking at fly tips for years, and I think this is the worst one I've ever seen in terms of the environmental impact.
Criminals have been dumping waste from the bridge on Sheep Hill Road. But what you can't see from the roadside is how far down the brook the waste travels. Everything from discarded equipment from cannabis farms to a washing machine and polythene sheets, covering an estimated 1/4 mile in total. Maggie and her fellow volunteers have been trying their best to clear the area, but often no sooner have they finished work for the day than the fly tippers are back again.
4 or 5 of us cleared about 60 bags of cannabis farming and household clearance, and came back 2 days later to do a little bit more, and found that in between time the perpetrators had been back, and they'd obviously done it when all the litter was waiting to be collected from the council.
And the rubbish has an impact far beyond Redcar Brook.
Plastics, metals, chemicals, which you don't know what goes into them, nutrients. So it's a real horrible cocktail. And of course, eventually this is making its way down into the main rivers and into the oceans, and adding to the huge amount of plastics and material on the ocean bed.
Planning permission's been granted for a 1.8 metre high fence that would hopefully prevent fly tippers from striking again. But Maggie says more help is needed now.
We were all pensioners, and it's very difficult to get, the heavy stuff out of here.
As for what she'd do if she got her hands on the perpetrators,
I'm a great believer in restorative justice, so I would get them involved, get them down here as part of, whatever punishment, get them clearing. I'd work with them, and I'd make them have a drink of the water. Make a cup of tea and have a drink of tea from the water.
Sheffield City Council says it's developing a fly tipping reduction plan. It says it would encourage residents to report anyone they see fly tipping, and not to agree to doorstep callers offering to take their waste away for a small fee. Adam Fowler, ITV News, Sheffield.
Certainly a bit of an eyesore, and fly tipping is something that causes problems all over the place, isn't it? What are your thoughts? Perhaps your neighbourhood has been affected. Let us know on Facebook, X, Instagram, or email us at calendar@itv.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, it's an awful problem, isn't it? Now then, let's have some more news. And more than £8.5 million worth of cannabis plants have been seized across Yorkshire and northern Lincolnshire in a major police operation. Forces across the region worked together to uncover the illegal income streams of organised crime gangs. 29 people were arrested in total, while in South Yorkshire alone £3 million worth of drugs were found.
After chaos broke out during a Bradford Council meeting which saw demonstrators escorted from the City Hall, the protesters behind it say they stand by their actions. The council leader has branded it unacceptable.
If you cannot be silent, well, you will be moved from the building.
During a budget meeting last night, before plans to raise council tax by 10% were approved, chanting could be heard from the public gallery. The council says protesters continued to disrupt proceedings. It had to be suspended for more than an hour as police arrived. The rise was voted through when the meeting resumed, with the authority saying it needs to ensure its finances are sustainable to deliver vital services.
It might not have stopped it, might not have made any difference. That's not on us, that's on Bradford Council. They're the ones that are ripping people off. We were the ones that were trying to stop it, and we nearly did. But just because we didn't doesn't invalidate it. It doesn't mean that it wasn't worth doing.
This is Friday night's calendar. Still to come on the programme, we'll be meeting a world champion.
Yes, I'll be catching up with Gary Swift from Sheffield, who potted his way to victory in Thailand.
And join me later when we've got a human chain of almost 2,000 people stretching across Wakefield, featuring Chris Kamara. What do you think of that, kids?
That's unbelievable!
Hey, that's my line!
Find out about that shortly. Now, this next story's got you talking over on our Facebook page. The rising cost of spending a penny that's seen the number of public toilets plummet.
According to the British Toilet Association, there are 40% fewer public facilities than there were 25 years ago.
And that sparked calls for the government to step in to make it a legal requirement for councils to provide them, as Chris Conway reports.
They were once a common sight, but now there are concerns that public toilets are being flushed away from our towns and high streets. People in Sheffield say they've noticed a decline, but insist there is still a need for them.
Used to be loads all over the place, but now there's nothing. There's nothing about. I mean, I couldn't even tell you where the closest toilets are now.
There should be lots and lots, especially for disabled people and people who, and older people.
And not just in Sheffield, I think everywhere in the country should have more. I just feel like it just doesn't make sense to not.
The British Toilet Association claims that the number of public loos has fallen by more than a third in the past 25 years, with just over 3,000 still open and operating. With millions living with conditions that mean they require the use of a toilet at short notice, according to the BTA, 1 in 5 are put off from going out for fear of being caught short.
You don't get a lot of warning sometimes. You have that sudden rush, so you have to try and find somewhere quickly.
David has an inflammatory bowel condition, which means he relies on the existing network regularly.
Patients with Crohn's and colitis who, faced with no public toilets and perhaps no cafes nearby that they could possibly use, they've had to go behind a bush. And that's quite demeaning and demoralising for those sort of people. And if the public toilets were more frequent, then that probably wouldn't be so much of an issue.
Now, the Legalise Loos campaign has been launched, calling on the government to make public toilets a legal requirement. Currently, they're only optional rather than mandatory for cash-strapped local authorities.
What most people fail to recognise is toilets bring money. They bring footfall, they bring people, they bring money into the town, and they keep them there. If people are in town shopping, whatever, they're more likely to stay and continue to spend money if they can use the toilet and find relief.
With their upkeep requiring local councils to spend more than a penny, the government told ITV News it's for local authorities to decide how to spend their money, and that's why they're injecting £69 billion into councils across England. As the BTA claim an increasing number of public toilets are closing down, people are urged to ask themselves where their nearest one is. They say it might be further away than you think. Chris Conway, ITV News.
I do remember those old ones, sort of in the 80s. They weren't very nice,
Not the nicest,
were
are they, really?
No, not really.
How do we follow this?
I'm not sure, but we need to get to Kerry somehow. So.
Make it quick.
The weather isn't going down the toilet this weekend. It's actually going to be really nice. Bradford could be warmer than Barcelona, but it actually won't be that hard because we've got an area of low pressure to the north and west of Portugal and Spain, and that's giving it quite unsettled conditions. So Barcelona on Sunday, 15 Celsius. Bradford, 17, maybe 18 Celsius, so pretty impressive. We actually did better today with a bit more sunshine. It did pop up to around 16 or 17 today, so it's feeling very pleasant, but there is a change on the way, you two, so we need to make the most of the weekend because we swapped the warm air mass for a colder Arctic air mass by the time you reach Monday. So this weekend, yes, 18, we're dropping a full 10 degrees as we head into next week. So we're really going to notice that, particularly at the coast. There could even be a few wintry showers coming as we head through into next week. But over the next few days, not looking too bad at all. And it's been really nice, hasn't it? What is it, the 7th of March now?
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
All the crocuses are out.
Absolutely beautiful. I've just taken Sheffield as an example. March so far, so the last 6 days, 48 hours of sunshine. And if we compare that to the whole of last month, February 2025, that's a full 60 hours. So we've had almost as much as we had in February over the last 6 days.
Yeah,
we'd expect a bit more in March than February. But yeah, it's made us feel so different, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And we can enjoy it a bit more over the next couple of days, make the most of it.
By the sounds of it, I shall be going on lots of lovely walks. Thank you.
Absolutely perfect for it, yeah.
And we'll see you shortly, Kerry. Now, a new tree planting task force is overseeing millions of trees being planted in our region after some of our councils didn't plant enough. 6 council areas in the Callander region are among the bottom 50 across the whole country in terms of overall woodland coverage. Well, the new task force has been set up by the Department for Food, Environment and Rural Affairs and aims to close that gap on commitments to reforest the country. Nick Smith reports.
Thousands of years ago, our island was covered by dense forests and woodlands. But after centuries of cultivating the land, just pockets remain today. Community planting groups like this one in Newsome near Huddersfield are looking to do their bit to reverse that. It's much needed. According to local authority data, this district of West Yorkshire has a rate of tree coverage nearly a quarter below the national average.
We need to fulfil our obligations to the climate, and our carbon neutral commitment here in Kirklees of being carbon neutral by 2038 is a key part of our council plan and priority. So I'd like to play a part in that. Also, I've been planting trees most of my life, so it comes naturally to me to want to carry on with that.
Only around 12% of the total land in England is covered by trees. In stark contrast, most of our European neighbours enjoy an average of around 35%. And only a tenth of our forests are home to mostly native species, like these beech trees surrounding me, making habitats like this quite rare.
Ancient woodland covers just about 2.5% of England now, and those precious pockets are something that once they're damaged, you can't easily replace them. We need to supercharge the amount of trees that we are planting. Last year, we planted around 5,000 hectares worth of trees. We think that needs to be more like 7,000 or 8,000 hectares every year. Will the government realise that to get to that level, it needs to properly protect the trees we've got at the moment and put some serious investment so that it pays farmers, pays land managers to invest in tree planting.
The government set a legally binding tree cover target of 16.5% by 2050. Last year, we planted more trees than we have done for the last 23 years. We need to do more, and we need to work with everybody, landowners, farmers and local authorities, to get more trees growing.
More than 2/3 of our land is agricultural, so incentives for farmers to plant more trees is a big step in meeting overall targets. Some, like Amelia Lake, have embraced the concept of agroforestry, planting to try and benefit her yields rather than reducing them.
Trees are an essential tool in land management, and that's not just about biodiversity. It's looking at soil care, carbon capture and how we hold water in the landscape to prevent flooding. Trees can help protect the quality of the forage, and they're providing shade and shelter for livestock.
New saplings will take decades to reach their potential for environmental benefits. But as our climate becomes more unpredictable, these future forests could be an essential tool in protecting all of us. Nick Smith, ITV News.
That woodland looks beautiful. Well, Arif is here now, so it must be time for a bit of a sport. And there's a big weekend for 2 of our basketball teams.
Yeah, that's right. Like, it's rare we start with basketball, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, well, if we've got 2 teams from the same club in cup final action this weekend, then why not? After a tough few years, the Sheffield Hatters are looking back to their best. On Sunday, they'll play in the Super League basketball final. Then a few hours later, the Sheffield Sharks will look to make it a double when the men play in the final.
I'm really looking forward to it. It's been a few years since we've made a final, so really exciting, really pleased for the girls to have made it there this season, and you know, it's great for the Sheffield club, both the Hatters and Sharks making the finals.
It feels like one team's going to the final right now. We train at the same time pretty much, we eat lunch together, you know, so it's one really big club, and the support for the men and women is equal, and we're happy to, you know, see them make the final. I'm sure they're happy for us as well. So that's the basketball, Arif, but of course it's the netball Super League that starts tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. It starts tomorrow, and the Leeds Rhinos are Yorkshire's sole representatives. The Rhinos' new head coach, Lauren Palmer, will be hoping for a good start when the team take part in the Super Cup, a one-day competition that features all 8 Super League teams, which is being staged at the Utility Arena in Sheffield.
We're really looking forward to getting out there, playing and seeing what the other teams have got as well, but also in a sort of short, quick-fire games. It's anyone's game, really. It opens it up for a little bit of excitement as well. So the girls and myself are all really looking forward to this weekend.
And finally, Arif, we've got a new world champion. Who is it?
Yeah, we do. His name is Gary Swift, Lara, who lost the use of his legs at 14, and he thought his dreams wouldn't be possible to become a world champion. But the promising boxer's career came to an end following an injury, and he took up snooker to help his rehabilitation. And this weekend in Thailand, he potted his way into the history books, and I've been down to see him. A warm welcome for a world champion. Gary Swift was the centre of attention at the Snooker Academy in Sheffield as he showed off his shiny new trophy. Over the last 10 days, Gary's been in Thailand, competing in the World Disability Snooker Championships. After a gruelling 6-hour final, he beat his Thai opponent on home soil.
Not just a world champion, but first world champion from Sheffield.
How does that feel?
It was amazing. All the response I get after, everyone who I don't know just messaging me, congratulations, Sheffield's proud of me. Yeah, it's amazing.
Very proud of Gary. I've watched him while he was doing his journey over in Thailand, and it's just nice that he's come back to Sheffield, which that's what we were hoping for, and that were our achievement.
He's just one of the lads, isn't he? Seeing Gary and having the chance to play with him, what an inspiration.
Watching nervously on the sidelines was his close friend Stephen Harrison. The pair have been playing snooker together for 15 years.
I was just shouting Gary on constantly and, you know, just willing him on to keep going with that, you know, Sheffield grit, what he'd got inside him. And he just got that will to win, Gary. He's just a born winner.
After seeing the success of the first ever Disability World Championships, Gary wants to see the sport return to the Paralympics.
Yeah, you've got like a World Championship, an Ability Games and a Paralympics. If you could win any of them, I'd be so proud. I've got 2 of them, so if I could get that third one, yeah, it'd be amazing.
Just need to complete the set then, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
With a World Championship safely in the trophy cabinet, Gary hopes one day he'll be able to pocket a Paralympic gold medal. Arif Ahmed, ITV News, Sheffield. Well, if it does get in the Paralympics, I guarantee he will come back with a gold medal. He's brilliant.
Yeah,
Gary.
he looks brilliant. We'll have to get him on the programme again, won't we?
Definitely.
Thank
Well
you.
done, Gary. Now then, Laura, do you fancy holding hands with Arif and then holding hands with me?
Not really. Why?
Well, OK, that's fine, because there's only 3 of us here anyway. It would look a little bit silly, wouldn't it? However, over in Wakefield, about 2,000 people took to the streets hand in hand today.
That's why you said it. It was all in the name of the My Hospitals charity, which raises funds for hospitals in the area. Helen Steele went to find out more.
Well, it's all going on here in Wakefield today, isn't it? Look at this lineup, I tell you what. We've just come down here, we've got a couple of local legends. Now, Rhubarb,
Hello.
Makes a change from the Rhubarb Festival, does it?
Just a bit, yeah. It's so nice to see everybody in such a big line. What a great community we have in Wakefield. It's all the rhubarb, you see. I blame the rhubarb.
I don't want to take away from your legendary status, but I think we've got another one down here. Hello.
Hi.
How was this for you? Did you enjoy it?
Amazing. I've never held hands with anyone for this long. Not even my
fireman.
wife. And a fireman as well. Made my day.
It's all obviously for a good cause, which you're well behind, aren't you?
Absolutely amazing. You know, first time it's been done in the UK, and we're raising good money for NHS hospitals. Yeah, it's great.
Thank you so much. Brilliant.
Thank
I'll let
you.
you carry on holding hands with your fireman. And as we speak, we can go past them. I think they're chosen for their really long arms, because 2,000 people in this lineup, hopefully the longest in the UK. And I'm going to speak to a couple of you guys here now, aren't I? Are you enjoying yourself? Where should you be today?
We're at school.
What lesson are you missing?
English.
Yeah. And how about you?
I'm missing DT.
DT, I don't quite know what that is, but I'm sure this is more fun, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Right, I'll just take you back down here again, because I think we've got Callum from the hospital's charity down here. Hello, fireman again. You can now tell me, can't you, a bit more about this. Why are we doing it?
Yes, so it's 125 years since the first patient was seen on the Pinderfield site, and we're all about bringing the community together here at My Hospitals charity. We're all here schools, fire brigade, police, businesses, all coming together.
£10,000 as well?
Yeah, just short of £10,000 been raised.
Thank you, and I've been promised that everyone is going to do us a little Mexican wave of our own now. So, right, kids, are you ready? Okay, go!
Oh, wonderful. Should we hold hands now?
No, well, you wouldn't hold hands with me, so I'm holding hands with you. Simple as that. Keep your hands to yourself, Laura. I want to hold hands with Chris Kamara anyway.
You do, or you don't? Yeah,
I don't think he
do.
wants to hold hands with me.
If he'd asked to hold my hand, I'd say yes, definitely.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Lovely to
wouldn't
see
it?
Cammy there.
Well,
Brilliant
the time
thing
is
to
it?
do. Time for weather.
With Kerry.
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Thank you. Hello again. The weekend is almost upon us. A little bit more in the way of cloud today, but as we head into Saturday and Sunday, very similar to the last few days with plenty of blue sky and sunshine and really feeling quite spring-like with some very decent temperatures inland, a tiny bit cooler at the coast with a southeasterly. This weather front that's been lingering in the far north today is migrating northwards, and we have seen one or two breaks in the cloud and some sunshine coming through. We're essentially in between fronts as we head through into tonight and into Saturday. So there'll be a little bit of cloud nudging from south to north during the course of the night, but it stays dry. There will be some clearer spells, not as mild as last night, but not as chilly as it could be. So 5s and 6s in rural spots as we head towards dawn. 6:39 and 5:56 are your sun times. For the first half of the weekend, maybe a bit of low cloud right over the tops of the Dales and the Pennines first thing, but it's a lovely day, plenty of sunshine. We have got that southeasterly breeze and it will knock back the feel of things, especially directly at the coast, but still above the average here, and inland widely a 17, possibly an 18 Celsius with prolonged spells of sunshine into the second half of the day. Again, in between those weather fronts as we head into Sunday, so a rinse and repeat, 16 or 17, maybe 18 once more inland. Still average or above at the coast with a southeasterly breeze. Then it's all change as we head into Monday. There'll be a spell of cloudy skies and outbreaks of rain, and by the end of the day we'll be in single figures, feeling much colder and we think quite cloudy over the coming few days into next week.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
And with a forecast like that, you can come again.
Yay, it's nice it's coming at the weekend, isn't it? All the good
Brilliant.
stuff. Yeah.
We can enjoy it, can't we?
Definitely. Hope you enjoy it as well, and I hope you enjoy your weekend and that you'll be back with us again on Monday. Very good
Bye
night.
for now.
Bye.